June the 27th, butterflies and moths. There is a larger variety and greater numbers of butterflies this month than any month so far. The butterflies most likely to be seen now are the large white, small white, green-veined white, speckled, brimstone holly blue, orange tip, red admiral, and in good years perhaps some painted ladies. Most of these can be seen in gardens even in the centre of the city. Large and small whites are usually distinguished by their different sizes, with small whites tending to have less distinct markings. The females of both these butterflies have 2 spots on their wings. The male small white has only 1 spot, small spot, and the male large white has no spot at all. Green-veined whites are very similar to small whites and also easily confused with female orange tips. If it is possible to see the undersides of their wings, the green-veined white has noticeable black scales along the veins, causing them to stand out. Small whites have no such prominent veining, and female orange tips have a hind wing which is covered in a moss-green mottling. If ever there is a possibility of examining a stationary male green-veined white, it is well worth attempting to smell him, as he has a scent of lemon verbena. Wood whites also fly this month, but are only rarely encountered on woodland paths. They are usually first noticed on account of their curiously cumbersome flight. A closer look reveals their wings are cream-coloured rather than the usual white, with added grey squarish markings. The speckled was once called the Enfield eye and is now a common London butterfly. It is regularly seen in dapple shade within woods and mature garden. Unusually, it thrives in wet summers. Painted ladies get their name from their handsome black, brown, yellow and pink markings. After their long journey to get here from as far away as North America, these colours have often faded to a dull orange. New adults will emerge in a month's time, and these will once again be suffused in salmon pink. Rather less common, but also flying the whole month, are the green hairstreak, dingy skipper, small blue, common blue, wall, brown argus, and small heath. The small blue is dependent on kidney vetch for its survival, and as the plant gets rarer, so does the butterfly. Unfortunately, the adults seem unwilling to fly very far for new plants on which to lay their eggs. Wall butterflies are large with shiny orange-coloured wings, covered with dark checkered markings. They are usually first noticed while basking with outspread wings on warm rocks. If 2 are seen, the darker one is likely to be the male. Common blues can still be seen as centrally as Morden cemetery. Their females can usually be separated as they are more brown in colour than the mauve-coloured males. If this is not enough, they also possess a row of black and orange spots on the edges of their wings, which is not present in the males. Brown arguses can be seen on Headley Heath. They are totally brown with no hint of blue, but can be detected in female common blues. It is the bold orange edge to their wing that usually confirms their identification. Small heaths can still be found on Headley Warren. These are a paler brown and usually seen in long grass. When they land, they usually show a tiny eye spot at the tip of their wings, which is there to deter predators. Small heaths are seen with missing or tattered wingtips, as birds tend to peck these eye spots out. Any small coppers or peacocks are likely to be seen at the beginning of the month, and any skippers, meadow browns or commers, are more likely towards the end. Rarities such as the Adonis blue, although they fly for the whole month, are now most unlikely to be encountered. Denbies Lamb Barn is one place to look, and Oakham Wood may be worth visiting for the possibility of a pearl-bordered or silver-washed fritillary. Chapel Down is also worth visiting for the chance of a dark green fritillary, especially towards the end of the month. Small tortoiseshells, which used to be so common a few years ago, are now rarely seen. Moths. Moths is a busy month for the Lepidopterist. Most of last month's moths are still flying, and now their numbers are swollen by many more. Of the common species, one of the most handsome is the mottled beauty, Alcis repandata. This is a large moth, generously patterned in grey and brown, with a wavy edge to its wings. It is easily disturbed when resting on tree trunks. The moth seen most this month is likely to be the heart and dart, Agrostis exclamationis. It is often the first moth to enter a moth trap and is undeterred by cold weather. Another contender for the most abundant moth this month is the large yellow underwing Noctua pronoba. It is the sudden flash of orange-yellow on its hindwings when it is disturbed that gets it noticed. It then flies off both swiftly and erratically. Like so many other moths this month, it exists in a number of different forms, and its numbers may be increased by immigrants. Two other species common and widespread are the marbled white spot, Protodeltote pygarga, and the green carpet, Colostygia pectinataria. The former is likely to be encountered on woodland paths, but the latter can be found almost anywhere. The green carpet has typical soldier camouflage marking. Where there are a lot of conifers, the grey pine carpet, Dera obeliscata, may also be seen. Regular visitors to moth traps include the clouded border, Loma spillis marginata, and the light emerald Campea margaritata. The clouded border is one of the most beautiful moths of the month. It has white wings with rounded, smoky black edges and black dots. Scarcely two individuals have quite the same markings. The light emerald is equally as striking. It is the palest of all greens with intensely black eyes. Unfortunately, it's so pale it quickly fades to white within a few days after its emergence. Other species are confined to particular habitats or even certain sections of the city. For example, the small seraphim, Lobophora hulterata, seems restricted to southwest London. Hawk moths always provide excitement due to their size, colour, and the dramatic speed at which they fly. The elephant hawk moth, Dilphila elpenor, occasionally visits gardens this month to feed on honeysuckle. It is unmistakable due to its pink and olive green markings. These colours are close to two of its favourite food plants, fuchsias and rosebay willowherb. Where there are stands of rosebay willowherb on wasteland and burnt sites, this is another place to look for it. 50 years ago, the privet hawk moth, Sphinx ligustri, was common, but it is now rare. It is a large, impressive moth that is often confused with the famous death's head hawk moth, Acherontia atropos. Clear wings are often described as fairy-like, as they tend to hover over flowers with their narrow, transparent wings, which have strong black veins. Their bodies also have brightly coloured belts, for example yellow, orange, or bright red. 3 species can be seen now, all of which are rare. That is the red-tipped Cyunanthodon formicaiformis, the 6-belted Bembesia scopigira, and the orange-tailed S. andrini formis, and it is the current clear-winged F. tipuliformis which is most likely to be seen, particularly in allotments, where it feeds on black currants. It has the typical bulbous end to its abdomen, as other clearwings do, but also has 3 clear, bright yellow belts and yellowish tips to its wings. Another group of moths starting to be noticed are the pugs. These are generally small, delicate grey and brown, and consequently very difficult to identify. There are over 50 in Britain, with most recorded in London at one time or another. In many pugs, the edge of the forewing forms a straight line or a shallow curve. What makes them stand out is the complex and beautiful patterns on their wings, usually with many clear lines and waves. When resting, they keep their wings outstretched and often slightly raise their abdomen. Those commonly encountered are the common pug, Euphthesia vulgata, the grey pug, E. subfuscata, the lime-speck pug, E. centaureata, the green pug, Chloroclistis rectangulata, and the brindle pug, E. abbreviata. The last species tend to be seen only in the first week of June, when it is at the end of its flight season. Other pugs, such as the foxglove pug, E. pulcrellata, and the larch pug, E. lariciata, the currant pug, E. assimilata, and the slow pug, Chloroclistis chlorata, all tend to be found where there is a lot of their food plant that the name indicates. The foxglove pug enjoys all the different foxgloves to be found in London gardens. Other pugs that are widespread but more local in their distribution include the slender pug, E. tenuiata, mottled E. exiguata, friars E. intricata, dwarf E. tantillaria, the white-spotted E. tripunctaria, narrow-winged E. nanata, Horwath E. horwathiata, shaded E. summumbrata, and netted E. venisata. The last species is only found on the chalk in London. Waves, which are also starting to appear, are generally more variable in colour than pugs. They often have many distinct bands as well as wavy lines across their wings, and they tend to be lighter in colour and have distinct dots. Some even have the straight biplane leading edge, so typical of pugs generally. The most commonly seen are the small fan-footed wave, Idea bisalata, the rib and I. aversata, dwarf cream, I. fuscovenosa, common Cabera exanthemata, common white Cabera puceria, single dotted I. dimidiata, and small dusty I. seriata. The small fan-footed wave, common and common white wave, are probably the most likely to be seen. They are found everywhere except perhaps the very centre of London. The small dusty wave is often caught in moth traps, the cream wave prefers woodland, and the satin wave chalky areas. Swiss moths are often recognised by their habit of holding their wings nearly vertical when they come to rest. They also tend to have thoraxes that are very hairy. Two widespread and common ones this month are the common swift, Hepialis lupilinus, and the ghost moth, Hepialis humili subspecies humili. The males of the latter are sometimes seen hovering over grass at dusk. The goldsmith, H. hector, has a more local distribution, preferring certain London woodlands above others. Its caterpillars have the rare distinction of feeding on bracken, which so few other creatures ever attempt. Footmen always catch our attention due to their long, narrow shape and khaki overcoat colour. The common footman, Ilema luridiola, is the most likely to be seen. The rosy footman, Miltocrista miniata, which is the most striking, prefers woodland, and the orange footman, Ilema soricula, might possibly still be flying, perhaps in open forest. Lastly, the bonnets are always a delight to encounter due to their bright colours and habit of flying in sunshine. It is the narrow-bordered five-spot Zygaena lenisserai species Latomarginata and the six-spot Zygaena filipenduli that are the most likely to be seen this month. Both are common, especially where there is lots of bird's foot trefoil.